Our own Superman with a plan, Dan Thrailkill.
Thank you. All right, so each of you should have a lovely little filtering of paperwork in front of you. One is a one-page flyer. Just on the table and stand right here. And another is a small brochure that First Citizens publishes about our business credit cards. So, quick show of hands. How many of you carry a credit card? Okay. Quick show of hands. How many of you carry a credit card for your business? Awesome. Quick show of hands. How many realize that that credit card reports to your personal credit profile? Quick show of hands. How many of you realize that if your business had bad credit, that could still affect your ability to gain a business credit card, even if your personal credit is spotless? Very good. So, there's two types of credit scores, a business and a personal credit score. Banks want to look at two things whenever you are applying for a revolving line of credit. Number one, what is the business's credit score? Okay, the business may have changed hands. So, for example, if a previous owner did something maybe not so financially good, and there was something negative on the business's credit profile, that could affect a new owner down the road if for some reason that information transitioned from the old business to the new business, which it can happen. Even if it's two separate tax ID numbers, the credit reporting agencies sometimes get things wrong and move things from one to the other because the business entity is the same thing. I've seen it happen. Number two, every loan that you will apply for as a business owner will require you to personally guarantee the loan. This was not a requirement for many banks prior to 2008. However, after the financial collapse, it's pretty much standard. It's going to happen. Don't ask not to do it because the bank's going to look at you like you're crazy. But it also allows us to pull your personal credit score because, of course, whether it's an LLC, an S Corp, C Corp, partnership, whatever it is, there are individuals behind most businesses. Most businesses are not publicly traded. So the individuals behind those businesses should be financially ready to step up to the table and guarantee their business's line of credit with their home, with their car, with their personal income, whatever it is. Get some skin in the game, so to speak. So whenever you apply for a line of credit or any loan with the bank, expect to personally guarantee the loan. How does your business track expenses? I'm going to give an example of a church, since that's what I've talked a lot about recently. Churches grow, in some cases, very fast. You look at North Point Church. They're a multi-million-dollar church. Ackworth First Baptist Church, much smaller church, but they both do things very similarly. They have employees, more than 5, and they used to each pay for their church expenses using their own personal credit card and then fill out an expense report for the church to reimburse them on. That is not, as Leslie will tell you, the most efficient way to track business expenses. The easiest way to do that is to use a corporate credit card that someone manages, be it an office manager, be it the CFO, be it the CEO, whomever it is, general partner, and allocates a certain dollar amount to each person as a credit limit for them to go out and spend on behalf of the business for things that they need. So again, on my sheet, is it more efficient to have corporate expense cards rather than reimburse office expenses? That is something for each one of your businesses to determine for itself. And as with all business, everybody's got an office card. That office card typically has one of the owners on the card, and everybody just goes out and uses it. Guess what happens? So let's do a scenario. Office manager takes the card, doesn't have her name on it, but the owner of the business has given her permission to use the card, anyone in the office. Office manager goes out, drops the card on accident. Forgets she drops it. Someone picks it up and uses it. Guess who's responsible for those fraudulent charges? That business owner. Because his name was on the card, he put the card out there, let everyone use it. She lost it, she didn't report it stolen, he's at fault, and the business is going to have to pay for those fraudulent expenses. The bank will not be on the line for that, and that is a Reg C regulation. Now, one different thing with First Citizens, if you'd like to flip open the little flyer here, there's basically two types of business credit cards, okay? And the one question that I would ask any business owner to determine which card is going to be best suited for them will be, do you plan to pay the balance off every month? Yes or no? If it's a brand new business, just getting started, they probably will carry a balance of some kind unless they are just already highly profitable. In that instance, I am always going to suggest just the standard First Citizens Visa card, primarily because the annual fee is waived on that card. There is no annual fee. Many banks will charge also a lower interest rate on cards that are not rewards cards. So if you plan to carry a balance, you save in your interest payment by using a non-rewards credit card. You typically make it out in the long run better than having a rewards card versus paying a higher interest rate. The second option is the awards card, which is a $50 annual fee, or you can pay the annual fee with 5,000 points. You get 1.5 points for every dollar you spend on qualifying purchases, which means any purchase. At the gas station, at the drugstore, at the restaurant, what have you, and you can use 5,000 points towards your annual fee. The one interesting thing about First Citizens credit cards, which is really fun, is the APR, the interest rate, is 10% set for both cards. And that is a variable rate, but it is a variable rate that right now is at 10%. Okay, I've put several other banks' interest rates on the second half of the sheet on the bottom. So if you see 10% APR, U.S. Bank also has a 10% rate. Capital One has 11.09%. Both don't have branches in Georgia. When you're doing expenses for your office, do you prefer to share a line of credit, or does everyone prefer to have their own line of credit? That is something that you can choose. So you can get one statement every month that has everybody's charges on it, or you can get separate statements with each individual card holder's charges on there. You can pay us with one check, you can pay us with multiple checks, you can pay us online, you can call in and we can have it drafted out of your account, or you can have it set up for automatic monthly payments for whatever the full balance is or for whatever the minimum balance is. The card limits are set by the administrator, meaning the person that is in charge of the account itself can send us an email and say, we just fired so-and-so today, disconnect her card. Done, finished. Don't have to make a phone call, don't have to do anything, we take care of it. Also, card is listed on business online banking for tracking and payment, and if you pay your office's cell phone bill using the credit card, it automatically covers your phone on a free insurance plan up to $500 per phone with a $50 insurance deductible. Wow. So if you currently pay for insurance in your cell phone plan, you can stop paying for it because it's basically the same plan you get for free as a cardholder. But again, I'm Dan with First Citizens Bank, and I just want to make sure that we all know what our personal credit scores are because we're all in business. We understand what that means. But do you know what your business's credit score is? A good referral for me is your church or your neighbor's church that maybe started out, maybe you just started going to this church and it had 100 members. Now it has 500 members, which means they have more employees, which means they're struggling tracking their expenses. Pass on this lovely hand off here instead of hand out with my information on there and tell them that I would love to speak to them about their office expenses. Dan Thrailkill with First Citizens Bank.